On this morning's program on the 16th of January 2011, we'll review the ad that the Old Prophet had in the Republic yesterday, talk about that. Fred will have some comments, and then we'll go to the Oracle to get some additional insight on this morning's program. But reading from the ad in the Republic yesterday, under the title of A Free Trip to Heaven. Christianity has impaled itself on the horns of a dilemma. It teaches the vital importance of morality and righteousness, while at the same time dismissing the necessity for righteous living, telling us that Jesus has done it all for us. But serious spiritual seekers have never accepted that, and critics have vilified the Christians over this for teaching this for centuries. The words of a poem that has circulated for centuries expresses the scorn that serious spiritual seekers have for this doctrine. And I quote, "Free from the law, oh happy condition, I can sin as I please and still have remission." My Christian friends, don't you think that it is time we re-examine this immoral, illogical doctrine and get back to the consistent teaching of the Bible? The Apostle Paul has given credit for this false teaching, but he knew that we have to work at it. Here is his statement on the subject. Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, from Philippians chapter 2, verse 12. And James tells us that faith without works is dead. That's from James chapter 2, verse 17, verse 18 as well. Jesus also emphasizes the same thing if you check Matthew chapter 16, verse 27. Fred, a free trip to heaven? What are your thoughts?
Thank you, John. I want to say to our audience, I've said this 1,000 times. I do not judge you for this doctrine, and I know that many of you hold it seriously. And I started my Christian pilgrimage under the influence of the same doctrine, and I know on the surface of the Scriptures there appears to be some support for it. So I'm not judging you for that, for your belief in this. But as I said last week, my friends, I'm judging you because you are not open. As I said, my thinking is growing constantly. Throughout my Christian pilgrimage, I keep growing. And even when I believe this the strongest, and I begin to study some of the great scholars of the past, and it's not been a consensus on this. There's many great Christians of the past that differs with this completely, and it goes all the way back. So what I'm saying, friends, I love you, and when you differ with me, I do not demonize you. I still accept you as a Christian brother or sister. And why is it that you call me Antichrist and demonize me and all that? And all I'm doing is what I'm asking you to do. I'm being honest to my convictions and my conscience, my friends. And that's all I'm asking you to do. But I'm asking you in the name of Jesus Christ to be open. I quote again old Cromwell, all the controversy that was going on in his day, and I've talked about that. And he said one thing, he said, by the grace of Christ, consider that you might be mistaken. That's all I'm saying. Open your heart to God. If I'm wrong and you're right, and you open your heart to God, you're not going to be misled. God is going to lead with that. But if I'm right, and you're wrong, and you have this intransigence that you have now, you're not going to ever grow beyond this error that you're in. And I told you about the preacher that I was visiting with and these members, and I was trying to get a dialogue going with them, and I failed completely. And I said, what if I'm right on this? After all these years of study, and you're wrong. And I made no headway, and finally I gave up, threw up my hands, and as I was walking out, the preacher said, we'll take our chances. Well, my friends, this is too serious to take our chances. If I am right, and you need to examine this, you're in danger by this doctrine if you take it literally. With that said, let me make a few comments. As John just read, the poem, "Free from the law, oh happy condition, I can sin as I please and still have remission." Yes, that's we need to think about that, friends, and that has been a stumbling block. That has been a stumbling block. And I study history, and I find that even Martin Luther, back in his day when he started teaching this, the morals of Germany began to fall. And he talked about the girls in the colleges chasing the boys into their dormitories and lamented that. And scholars said the reason was with this teaching that began to be introduced. Now, of course, Martin Luther was a great man of God, and he corrected a lot of errors that had been endemic in the church for centuries. But he introduced other errors, in my opinion, that were just as pernicious. So, a week ago Saturday, the Reverend Armstrong is a great disciple of Luther, and in his article in the Saturday paper before last, in large print in his article, he said, he does it all. And I quote him here, God has come to us in the person of Jesus Christ to do everything for us and to give everything to us. So I'm not exaggerating, friends, and I'm not caricaturing this teaching. This is what the Reverend Armstrong wrote. God has come to us in the person of Jesus Christ to do everything for us and to give everything to us. At the cross, further quote, at the cross, God reconciles us to himself by substituting himself for us and dying our death in our place. Further quote, salvation from Jesus Christ is the unilateral action of God on behalf of sinners. Our sinful nature demands that at the very least our will play some role in our own salvation, but God will not have it. He is out to do it all for you. That was a teaching. He's a faithful disciple of Luther. Luther said, we're like a beast. We have no, the only choice that we have, we're either going to be ridden by the devil or by Christ. And our only choice is to decide who does the riding. Friends, that was good. That might have been good psychology way back there in the Middle Ages. And it might have been necessary as an entry level to this. But who can accept that now as a literalism? And God bless you Christians that are still following Luther. He introduced more light, and he came out of a lot of superstition. But you're still following the theology of the medieval ages. You've got to grow beyond it. Yes, Christ has not come to do it for us, and this is not supported in the Bible. And our will does have everything to do with it. We are free moral agents, and we've got to choose whether we're going to serve God or the devil, in a sense. And it's more than being passive agents to decide who's going to do the writing and so forth. That's a crude way, friends, to put it. Again, you Lutheran pastors or you other Protestants, I'd like to debate this subject with you. Am I missing something? I have visited twice with the Reverend Armstrong, God bless him, trying to get a dialogue and debate with him. The first time he ran me off, and the second time he threatened to call the police on me, and so forth. What I was trying to do to get a public discussion with him on our differences. Maybe I'm missing something, Reverend Armstrong. You have the college education, and you've studied theology more than I have. Am I missing something? What are you afraid of? What I was trying to do with you, I was trying to get a discussion. You cannot, people are beginning to wonder what you preachers are afraid of. And you can't sweep this under the rug any longer. And as I said, not only the Reverend Armstrong, but many of the other preachers have decided not to accept my challenge. And you know, you can prove me wrong by coming and debating with me. But I'm saying that you know that all rationality and all spiritual reality is against you. You're still living in the Dark Ages, and your theology is the Bronze Age theology of the Dark Ages. We've got to grow on beyond that. We've got God's reality is not static; it's dynamic.